On Friday, President Uhuru Kenyatta led the entire cabinet to a retreat in Manyani, Taita Taveta County. And ahead of that cabinet retreat, there were talks within the corridors of power of the possibility of the president and his deputy reconciling. And that Kenyans were expecting, as the media were putting it, a second handshake. But from all indications, that handshake or reconciliation is not likely to happen anytime soon. Because immediately the president landed in Taita Taveta, he was received by the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Ideally, the person who ought to have received the president is his deputy, William Samoei Ruto. That was the first signal. And if you followed that event, the speech by President Uhuru Kenyatta also indicated that there was nothing like reconciliation as part of the agenda on that particular day. And then the next day, which was yesterday now, the president chaired another meeting, parliamentary leadership meeting at State House. And when the president was doing that, his deputy was in Meru County campaigning for his 2022 presidential bid. So I want us to look at the possible reasons why the deputy president, William Samoei Ruto, opted not to join President Uhuru Kenyatta for a meeting with the parliamentary leadership at State House. But before we do that, if you're watching this video for the first time, I want you to just take a second or two and click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Now back to the main issue. Yesterday, President Uhuru Kenyatta chaired parliamentary leadership meeting at State House in Nairobi. And when the president was at State House, his deputy was in Meru County. The deputy president was laying the stage or was setting the stage to oppose any move by the president to unveil or to support the Building Bridges Initiative campaigns. Let's face it, the Building Bridges Initiative process is likely to kick off anytime soon. And the deputy president is well aware of that. So he's already busy setting the ground to oppose it. And from the speeches which were made in Meru yesterday, it's very clear that the deputy president is likely to oppose that Building Bridges Initiative report. But what is not clear to Kenyans is whether the efforts to reconcile the president and his deputy have failed or whether the two cannot be reconciled. But why did the deputy president opt to go to Meru, not to attend the meeting which the president chaired at State House? In my view, 5 reasons only. Number one, I think the deputy president was protesting against the removal of his allies from parliamentary leadership. Not so long ago, President Ruto Kenyatta engineered the removal of the allies of the deputy president William Samoei Ruto from key parliamentary positions within the Senate and the National Assembly. Kipchumba Murkomen was removed as the majority leader at the Senate. Susan Kihika was removed as the minority whip at the Senate. Professor Kithure Kindiki, a key ally of the deputy president, the Tharaka Nithi senator, was removed as the deputy speaker at the Senate. So the deputy president is protesting. You go to the National Assembly, one of his key pillars, the Garissa Township Member of Parliament, Eden Duale, was kicked out. The majority whip, Ben Washiali, was kicked out. And people like Moses Koria, Kimani Ichung'wah, Alice Wahome, all of them were kicked out from committee leadership. And because the president has never met these guys, I think the deputy president was protesting their removal. Because how would the deputy president explain to his team that they were kicked out just like that, and then the president is meeting the leadership for the first time, and the deputy president is there watching and probably laughing? I am sure because of that, the deputy president decided not to attend that meeting. Because one thing is also very clear, that the people who are put in this leadership were put because of their support for President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, and to some extent Gideon Moi. At the Senate, after removing Kipchumba Murkomen, the president elevated Samuel Pogisho. Something which is very telling. You come to the National Assembly, after kicking Eden Duale, the person who was brought on board was Amos Kimunya. And I think I did a video on why Amos Kimunya was elevated. So I'm convinced that the deputy president was not going to attend this meeting as a protest. Going to State House yesterday and attending this meeting would mean approving this list of leaders as the bona fide leadership of parliament. His allies would not have agreed with him. So that's number one. Number two, I think it has to do with the Building Bridges Initiative process. When the president convened this meeting, it was clear that it was convened to discuss the Building Bridges Initiative process. Let's face it, President Uhuru Kenyatta has a keen interest on the Building Bridges Initiative process. Raila Odinga has a keen interest on the Building Bridges Initiative process. These are political objectives which the two brothers intend to achieve. But those political interests are not going to serve the interests of the deputy president, William Samoei Ruto. These two gentlemen are planning to create the position of the prime minister, the deputy prime minister, the president, and probably some two deputy presidents, among other things. But you know, in this country, we are just used to politics. Let's just concentrate on those political positions. The deputy president, William Samoei Ruto, on the other side, has never embraced this Building Bridges Initiative process. He's never embraced it because he was never involved, and he also believes that these two gentlemen are actually doing this to frustrate his bid for 2022 general election. So there was no way the deputy president was going to go to State House, and then these guys are going to agree to support the Building Bridges Initiative. Because let's face it, in most cases, what was going to happen was that this issue was going to be brought before them. Then they were going to deliberate, discuss, and agree. And they were going to come to an agreement that finally we are going to support this Building Bridges Initiative. Doing that would mean binding the deputy president to that particular agreement. So to avoid that, the deputy president did not attend. Again, the deputy president is preparing the ground to oppose this Building Bridges Initiative, because he has realized that the only way he can be attractive to the civil society is by opposing, because the civil society are opposed to any change to this any change to the current constitution. So he wants a way of aligning himself to the civil society. The deputy president is also trying to align himself to the church. So he's likely to oppose it and then align himself to the church, because from all indications, their churches were likely to oppose this Building Bridges Initiative process. Again, the deputy president is also trying to craft a narrative which is going to advance his hustler narrative against this Building Bridges Initiative. He's talking of these guys wanataka waongezewe pesa, while sisi tunataka kutafutia vijana kazi. So basically, the deputy president is going to tell the people outside there that these gentlemen are looking for positions for 5 or so individuals. But for him, there's no need for that. Well, in real sense, what the deputy president is trying to do is opposing this Building Bridges Initiative because it's likely to reduce the powers of the president and transfer some of those powers to someone else. And that's what the deputy president is opposed to. The deputy president wants a very powerful president, so that when he becomes the president of the Republic of Kenya, then he can exercise those powers. The Building Bridges Initiative is not granting that. The Building Bridges Initiative is proposing that some of the powers will be shared between the prime minister and the president. The deputy president would not want to become a president without executive power. Forget about the idea of prime minister and the rest. The real reason why these guys are proposing some of these changes is that they want the office of the president, the powers there, to be reduced, so that instead of having an imperial presidency in quotes, then some of those powers can be shared with the prime minister. Whether that's going to benefit President Uhuru Kenyatta or not is something which I still don't know. Number 3 is the legislative agenda of the president. The president is very keen on his legacy. And he's quoted as having stated that parliament is going to be key in passing some of the bills which are going to help him achieve his legacy. If the president is going to secure his legacy and he has disagreed with the deputy president, what would that mean? That would mean the president would going to get credit, the deputy president is going to be discredited. So the deputy president would not want to allow that. So basically, from my interpretation, is that the deputy president is not keen on helping the president secure his legislative agenda inside parliament and even outside parliament. Just check what happened in Meru yesterday. The guy is out there. And from all indications, they are now going to go for the president. So I'm sure what the president has realized was that the deputy president was controlling most members of parliament. So he's trying to bring the new leadership together so that he can rally them behind his legislative agenda. And that's what the deputy president is not interested in. And lastly is sympathy seeking. There's what is called sympathy in politics. And in ordinary circumstance, people who are perceived to being persecuted always get the sympathy. What happened in Manyani, where the deputy president was not allowed to receive the president, is actually winning him sympathy. The mere fact that the deputy president has always been frustrated for a long time means he's winning sympathy. So in my thinking, I strongly believe that the deputy president is still working on that sympathy, so that when the State House shared the photos of those meetings and the deputy president is not there, many Kenyans were asking themselves, why was the deputy president not here? Is it possible that he was not invited? Or is it possible that he's no longer part of the government which he helped form? So most people would now want to associate with him. And the last point, now number 5, is 2022 politics. The deputy president, William Samoei Ruto, is going to go for the presidency in 2022. That's now granted. And for him to succeed, he must build a momentum. He must build a narrative. How can he build a narrative? The deputy president has successfully managed to set up a campaign theme of hustler versus the dynasties. Working with Uhuru Kenyatta very closely, going to State House and meeting these guys and photos being circulated is not going to serve his interest. The deputy president interest must now just be served outside the shadows of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Anything which the president is going to support is not going to be supported by the deputy president. It's just that simple. So in my view, the deputy president just decided not to appear here for the purposes of 2022. He's telling Kenyans that these guys are dynasties and he's a hustler. The question Kenyans would ask him after this meeting is, why was he part of that meeting? He's telling these people that he's opposed to the Building Bridges initiative. And then you see him in this meeting, and then the State House was going to update on their official pages that the president, together with his deputy and the parliamentary leadership, have agreed to support the Building Bridges initiative. That Building Bridges initiative is one thing which the deputy president is going to exploit to the fullest. So he can't allow. So I think because of 2022 politics, the deputy president is not keen on attending some of these events. Let us wait and see. And I know one thing for sure, that the Building Bridges initiative report might even be launched from Kisii on Tuesday. And I'm also convinced that likely President Uhuru Kenyatta is likely to pass via Kisumu. Before Kisii or after Kisumu, he's likely to come to Kisumu here. Something is telling me that, so that they can set the stage for the Building Bridges initiative report. Let us wait and see. But from where I am, those are the reasons why the deputy president decided not to attend yesterday's event. Probably, I also don't want to rule out the possibility that he was not invited. Because when it comes to parliamentary leadership, This guy has always been kept in the dark. So I don't want to rule out the possibility that the deputy president was actually not invited to this particular meeting. Let us wait and see how things are going to unfold. I was in Msambweni, and I said there was something I was testing there to see if it will work. Yeah, I'm going to get a report. And another thing I did was to come up with my own report on Msambweni. I'm likely to do that analysis either today or tomorrow. But until that time, it's Lee Makwiny. Again, if you're watching the video for the first time, please click subscribe button now. Bye-bye.